Hi guys, so before we get back to any of the other videos, we thought we'd do a quick recap of the Mr. Olympia, and I have to be 100% honest because I've just been with it with George. I haven't actually seen that much, so I may get caned for my opinions on this. I've only seen little bits that some people have sent me and things. So we're going to start with 212. Derek Lunsford won. I'm really happy for him because he seems a really nice guy. So looked really good, really brought it this time. Obviously Haney Rambo doing a great job with him as well. Brought the conditioning and things this time. I don't know how far he can go with this, to be honest, because I think he's quite close to the limit of body weight. I might be wrong here, but I think he is. And very difficult to make improvements when you're that sort of on the body weight line. So whether he'll take a step up, you know, he may want to stay in this division if he is even going to step up for a couple of years, because he maybe thinks he can win it 2 or 3 times in a row before he does that. Then we had Shaun Clarida in second. Looks incredible as well, just like he did last year. Structurally, Lunsford's better. There's no question about that. Anybody can see that just looking. So that's probably what carried him through as well, because he looked really good, did Clarida, certainly in the night show. So yeah, he got second. Again, I don't know how much more improvements he can make, because there's certainly going to be an issue that more size he puts on, he's going to get sort of worse, as in terms of his structure and things, that his waist's probably going to get wider. And they're things really that we need to be knocking on the head now. You know, the big belly thing needs to be gone, because it's not bodybuilding. These people that say you can't get big without having a big belly and things, it's, you know, it's how long are you going to allow that? So, and he doesn't have that, but what I mean is it can happen if they keep trying to push for the size gain. Third was Kamal, and for me, Kamal was the most conditioned guy, no question. I even thought he could have possibly won it. I know structurally he's nowhere near sort of Derek in the sense of shape and things, but his conditioning was probably the best up there, certainly in that top 3. And he looks incredible. For 50 years old, it's crazy. You know, so could he win it? I don't know. You know, if he brings it again and he's better than he was before, then why not? I kind of felt sorry for him a little bit because he really did bring it, as I say, with the conditioning and things. But again, structurally, he doesn't look like Lunsford does, so I completely get that. And like I say, props to Derek, brilliant. And he can certainly get better. It's just how much he can get better within this division. And also the other point, a bit like Bumstead, is how much do you want to push if you did decide to go open, you know, when it comes to health. Having said that, who knows? I'm not involved to that degree. They could be pushing their health just as much in these divisions. They probably are. So, but you know, I know all those guys train hard and train really well, and that kind of showed compared to a lot of the other competitors. So they were your top 3. Like I say, I've not seen enough of it to make comments, certainly beyond that. So, you know, if you want to leave comments below to what else happened, brilliant, I'll take a look at them. But as I say, for 212, it's going to be exciting for the next few years, I think, because there is younger guys coming through, and you know, it's certainly going to be interesting, like I say, what Lunsford, Derek decides to do, and how much more the other guys can be improved to try and knock him off. So that's 212, guys. Hi guys, so this video is classic. And obviously Bumstead won again, as we kind of all expected, if we're honest. However, I am a Bumstead fan, but I don't think he looked as good as he could. I honestly think, I don't know if he looked better last year, which surprised me because the shots we were getting beforehand, it looked better. So again, it could be anything, you know. I know they took his calories down exceedingly low for the last 2-3 weeks, so you know, maybe they were playing a bit of catch up. I know he said at some point his body weight wasn't budging, or it could have just been something that, you know, they didn't fill him up enough. It's very difficult because, like I say, with videos and things, you can only go by that. and it's totally different to when you're there. I've seen people, I've maybe said this before, but I've seen people that on the day of a show look terrible, without meaning any disrespect to them, could be nerves or anything, but they look terrible. And on a video, on a picture, look out of this world, and vice versa. I've seen people look inside out, peeled, and on pictures, videos, they don't look that great. So that's why I don't like to say too much, for the simple fact that I'm not there. You know, I remember all the controversies about Nasser El Sonbaty beating Dorian in '97, things which, you know, I can't even get into it because it's utter nonsense. But you know, people will always say that, but I know somebody that judged that show. I met someone that judged that show, and they said it wasn't even close. So being this close, and even being in the audience, can show two different physiques. And certainly watching on videos and pictures, it does. So, you know, he obviously looked the best to win it, but it can certainly be better. And I'm sure, you know, him and Ian, his coach, will probably know that. And I'm sure they'll gun for that for next year, and it's going to be very difficult to knock him off. I think Terrence looks incredible second. I just think that, again, the size of Chris is going to be difficult, and I know particularly in classic it's not necessarily to do with size and shouldn't be, but if a guy stood there with a great structure as he has, you're drawn to that. And people are drawn to that, and he does still have the classic. He's got the small waist and everything that's required. So I think Terrence did an amazing job. I think he can keep pushing him because he's only getting better. Whether he can knock him off the top spot will be probably down to Chris, whether he can keep coming in better, because he needs to do that, there's no question. Third were Breon. Breon looks incredible, his conditioning were incredible, but Breon is not really a classic bodybuilder now. Breon needs to be stepping up to 212, because the weight that Breon can probably be in the condition he can bring, he's going to cause a lot of problems for people. So I'll be very surprised now if he doesn't change. You know, whether he does, I don't know, but I just don't see how he can come from where he is and get better, because he just can't really now. I think he's probably on the weight cap, and the conditioning he's bringing, yeah, he could probably still even be better, believe it or not, even though his condition was incredible. He could probably go a bit lower, but again, that's probably not going to show him off any better. So there's a fine line of being full enough and conditioned enough, etc. So fourth place, I think the gentleman's name is something like Urs, but I'm not even going to go into it because I don't want to get his name wrong and be disrespectful in that way. A young kid, 23, from Germany. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And with a year under his belt of, you know, preparing, man, that kid can do some damage, and people's going to have to watch him, because he could step from fourth right up to really pushing Chris. He can be that good. So, again, he's got a very similar structure to Chris. So, Chris is not going to defeat him in the manner he defeats other people, if you know what I mean, because of his structure. If he brings everything up and he brings the conditioning and everything as well, then he can cause a lot of problems for people. So really watch out for him. Again, I've not seen it enough, and that's not been disrespectful. I've just had a lot of other things on, so I don't know all the placings, so I'm not going to go beyond that spot. And again, comment below, let us know what you think. Again, I've not been disrespectful, but I don't want to talk about things that I've not really seen enough. And these are just my opinions, but I've been around this game a long time and seen things for a long time. So I just think, watch out for the fourth place kid. Probably watch for Breon to step up. Terrence is only going to get better. And I think Chris can certainly get better still. And if he does, then he's going to probably be very dominant. But he's really got to ensure next year that he really is bang on, because he's going to get pushed further and further. And for me, guys, that's the classic physique. So thank you very much. Okay, guys, so this is open. Just before we do the open, I just want to say congratulations to Brandon, who won the men's physique again. You know, really dominant again, incredible shape. Don't know who's going to push him, to be honest. There's some great guys out there, but they're really going to have to step up the game to sort of defeat him. You know, we could really sort of do with Jeremy coming back and being 100%, because that'd be something I'd really like to see. Although I think Brandon's maybe going to step up at some point. He's talking about Classic. So I guess we'll see on that one, but it would be really good to see Jeremy back, but I know he's got a lot of injuries and things, so what he'll do I don't know. So don't want to talk too much about men's physique because I don't really follow it very much. So, and again, not disrespectful to it, but bodybuilding's kind of my thing. So the Open, obviously we had Ramy win, and I'm going to be honest here, and I'll probably get stick for it, but he's not my favourite thing. He's a monster of a guy, but I so do, unlike a lot of people, think he can be defeated. I think Brandon, if he brings another year of bringing his legs up more, I think he needs to be in a little bit better condition, does Brandon. But again, it's balancing that fullness as well, because when you're against a big guy, but you kind of have to go with your strengths. So I think another year of him bringing his legs up and still improving everywhere, he can certainly push him, because do you know what, I just don't know how much more Ramy will improve, because I don't think his improvements were anything dramatic from last year to this. I really don't. And I think he looked worse at times, and I think a lot of people think he looked worse at times. And structurally they go on about how he looks amazing. I don't know, you know, there's a lot of body parts that need to be better for him to really blow your mind when it comes to, you know, front double bicep shots. He certainly needs a lot more lat width, calves still need to come up, and things like that. And again, no disrespect, the guy's Mr. Olympia, for God's sake, but, you know, we're here to talk about, you know, what needs to be sort of done to keep that happening, because they're talking about him winning for a long time. So don't get me wrong, his coaches and him will know all this, but I do think it's important, because I don't think he's that far ahead of the game. He's huge, but huge can't just win it for you. You know, it really can't. You can't go back to Ronnie and Dorian and even Jay. They were massive guys, but they had a lot about them as well. And I just think Ramy needs to be better. Back shots need to be a lot better. And I do think Brandon pushed. And like I say, with another year's improvements and coming in slightly better condition, who knows? You know, a lot of people had Brandon in front of him at times during this. So, yeah, I mean, Brandon looked great. He really, really did. His legs are still a little bit under par. So it'll be very interesting to see what he can do in another year, because he certainly improved them. And he improved his upper body as well. So I think another year of that, if he's still got that in him and wants that, he can really push him. He really can. Because as I say, with a year, I don't think Ramy improved, to be perfectly honest, or very little, without being disrespectful. So Brandon made really good improvements, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Hadi was third. I've had a lot of people message me saying Hadi should have won. I've got no problem with that, to be honest. His conditioning was good. I know there was, again, I've not seen enough of it. People said prejudging he wasn't particularly as good, really good in the evening, and they all tend to swap back and forth from that. So it's a difficult one, is that. But I know when Hadi's on, he looks incredible. So for me, the Hadi situation is probably his shoulders, because they're talking that he's got some sort of, I don't know, strange sort of shape going on in his shoulders. So whether that's things that's been put in there, and I don't necessarily mean he's putting anything wrong in there, but he could be putting gear in there, as a lot probably will, but it's maybe over time he's got scar tissue or something, I don't know. But if they're still putting something in there, they need to stop. Because I really feel that the way they've done it this year, if he was marked lower for that, he's always going to get marked lower for that. So somehow they've got to try and rectify that situation. Whether they can, I don't know, but they've got to try. Because I don't feel he's going to get any more than where he is, if that still exists. So that's kind of Hadi, really. And it looks amazing. So I hope he can sort that situation out, because I do feel that's maybe why he got third. Fourth was Hunter, who on the last video, if you remember, I told you to watch out for. You know, he's got his dad's genetics. Lee was just incredible. So, but Hunter's obviously a bigger kid. And I've had people messaging me, you know, he shouldn't have got fourth. Nick should have got fourth. Difficult because again, I'm going by a video and I've seen very little bits. And I understand what people are saying. If I'm honest, I do get that. I think structurally, Lee's better than Nick. I think if Lee is 100% on, he's better than Nick. Because he has better flow. You know, people are saying maybe his biceps are a bit flat, blah, blah, blah. That's genetic. His arms are still huge. He's got good legs. When he's really on, his back's great. The problem for Lee is two things. One, he had a lump on his chest, which I don't think is something they've done. To me, that looked like a small tear. So whether that's happened quite close, I don't know, because it looked like inflammation from something. Now I could be wrong, could be something else, but it looked almost like something wrong with the muscle. So again, like I said, I could be completely wrong, but it looked a bit like that. So and then he had a big water problem. Now I've seen Hunter before. I hope I hadn't said Lee there, but because that's his dad. But I've seen Hunter before and he's had water problems. People are saying he wasn't in condition. If you actually look at him, he was in good condition. Yeah, he could have been better, but he was in good condition. And he has a water problem. That is why he was sweating profusely, which really didn't help him. Now, what that issue is, who knows? Maybe they've used diuretics, it didn't go quite well. Maybe the type of foods he's eating. Maybe he's very nervous because that can ruin you. Who knows? But there's an issue there that they have to resolve because he needs to be coming in bone dry. If he comes in with another year of improvements and he's bone dry, wow, get ready. Get ready, because he will be pushing to possibly even win it. And I know people will be going, no way. I'm telling you now, give him another year to improve. If he came in bone dry, rock hard, and still full, get ready, because he could be climbing certainly up to top 2 position. He really could. But there's a lot to sort out. And I completely understand why Nick, who was in 5th, everybody's saying he should have beat him. I've seen certain things and thought that too. But I still do get, when you really look at them, how Hunter maybe nabbed 4th, but it was very close. Nick in 5th, just what can you say about this kid? He's incredible. I just hope he stays healthy, as I do for everybody. I just hope he stays healthy. Don't push things too much off season to try and get bigger and bigger, because you know things can happen, and we certainly don't want that in bodybuilding anymore. So he trains incredibly well, as does Hunter. You know, those two guys train really, really well. It's a high intensity style, great form. You know, when people used to say, you can't think about form too much, you hear people saying, don't squeeze. Look at these guys when they're training. That's exactly what they're doing, you know, and it's not hindered their size in any way, and they're still keeping them great lines and things as well. Nick just structurally isn't as good as Hunter. He basically, you know, he has a wider waist. He doesn't have the flaring lats as much. But again, give this guy another year and a proper off season, which he's not had. You know, my God, who knows what he can do? You know, he won the Ireland Classic, for God's sake, when he said he was going to, and people said he had no chance. So I really like him. The placings could have been switched, no doubt. But you know, that's what happened, that's how it went, and I understand why it went like that, but I could also understand the flip side of people saying that it should have been a swap over from that. But yeah, Nick, you know, just incredible. It's like I said, there's not much you can say about him. He's going to improve dramatically, just hopefully like the others, he stays healthy as well, you know. And let's see what happens, because again, who knows what he can do next year. Who knows? It's making bodybuilding exciting, and he's certainly done that. There's no question. It's him that's really done that this year. I just want to say one thing. I really, really hope Roden is back next year, because for me, a 100% Roden, if it's not too late for him, a bit like a 2018, can certainly be pushing for the top spot. I don't care what anybody says, he certainly can, because he looked incredible that year. and he's not small by any standard. His shape's incredibly good, and he's put more size on than ever recently. So if he can bring that down and nail it in, he could certainly be right up there pushing for it again, no question. And I think that will bring even more excitement back to bodybuilding for next year. And if they don't let him do it next year, it's not going to happen, because it's just going on and on too long, and his motivation will die. You know, he's getting older, which I don't even think about that with numbers. Who cares? You know, like we said, Kamal's 50. But you don't want him to lose that motivation, and he's still got that, so please let him do it next year. I know there's this case that's still going on, but you know, it's innocent until proven guilty, for God's sake. He's missed since 2018, you know, let him have a go before it's too late. You know, he's taken his entire career away without 100% knowing what's gone on. So fingers crossed that he's back next year, because the excitement will go through the roof, and honestly, he could even win it again. So that would be great. Final point is, because again, I don't know, I just want to say one thing about James Hollingshead. I know they said they didn't get it quite right. Still look good, and James can certainly jump up the placings massively, no question about it. Just like Nathan can come next year and do lots of damage as well. And obviously we've got Samson and people coming through as well now. And I apologise if I've not mentioned other people that's coming through from England in those other divisions, because I know there is. So, you know, best of luck to James and everybody else that's coming through. Keep pushing, you're doing an amazing job. You know, things happen on the day, we all know that. And then finally there was Bonac in 6. Bonac looked good. You know, I think William was marked down just because they said his legs weren't quite up to par, and he's been known for that before, but when he brings the legs up, man, he destroys people. So I just think William's got to go away and make sure for next year he brings them legs up, because if them legs come back, and he can even improve the upper body, or at least keep it the same, condition a little bit more again, whilst keeping the fullness, which is incredibly hard to do for anyone. So it's easy for me to sit here and say that, but if he can do that again, he can jump back up there into those top spots again. So, you know, a big one to watch out for. But like I say, there's many guys coming through. I think Brett Wilkins is going to do damage next year without question, because he pushed Labrada at the qualifiers. So, and I know, again, like I said, I apologise if I'm missing guys, because bodybuilding's getting a little bit of excitement about it again at the moment, which is great. So I wish everybody the best of luck for next year, but please stay healthy as well, because you know, it's not worth dying for the trophy. It's really not. So yeah, so that's the Olympia wrap up. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave comments below. Please subscribe to the channel, because we desperately need it. We've got more people watching, but we need everybody to subscribe. Leave a like on the video if you would, and just leave a comment below, and we'll carry on with these vids. Thanks guys, take care.